And I know I'll get this question, so I'll just let you know right now. For days 1 and 2, those can be done back to back. They're not always done back to back. But days 3 and 4, we space those out for sure because there's work that has to be done back in your school system between those days. So the title of day 1 and pretty much every day that we work with y'all is this idea of possibilities and risks. And we really push this idea of curiosity and vulnerability in the process. But the big thing is that in day 1, we're going to really open your eyes to this idea that there are possibilities with generative AI. There are also risks. And that's why we want superintendent and cabinet to participate in day 1. That is a requirement we've made, but outside of day 1, we are going to really work with district folks that are going to have to roll up their sleeves and build things. So we're not, there's not a requirement after day 1 for those things, but we do have a lot of superintendents and cabinet folks continue to join all 4 days. In day 1, we'll kind of dispel this idea that generative AI is magic and really teach folks how to utilize the tools and do some prompt engineering. We get into this idea of the impacts on society and work, and what does that mean for education from an academic integrity, ethics, and bias standpoint. We also talk about AI and digital literacy within that scope. The whole day is hands-on. We don't talk for more than 15 minutes, and it's very activity-based. And that kind of sets the tone and creates a sense of urgency for everything that happens after it. The reason we like superintendent cabinet there is twofold. One is there's problems that are going to require some deep kind of problem solving. And if you don't understand how the technology works and where this is going, it's really hard to do that. Secondly, we're going to build a lot of things and someone's going to have to prove that stuff. So that's why we want superintendent cabinet there for those conversations, because ultimately they'll have to do some approval. If you go to the next slide, in day 2, that's when we start to roll up our sleeves, and we do that because the current state of generative AI in school districts is that unfortunately we're lacking the policies, guidelines, and frameworks. And by the way, very little of this is policy work. And yet we have teachers and students using it, and we'll have more of that next school year. So we really have to roll up our sleeves to build those things. So in day 2, if you go to the next slide, we have a pretty well-defined process. You could just keep clicking, Cindy, and everything will come up. A pretty well-defined process that takes us from what are those guiding questions that we need to have to building out all the tools you need that you saw in that matrix in that bottom left corner, including your guiding principles, to then creating a story that pulls all of that together. So essentially, when you leave, you'll have things like, do we have a rubric that helps teachers label assignments? Have we looked at our academic integrity policies and really rethought our plagiarism? Have we looked at an escalation process for that? What have we done on the technology side to make sure we've looked at security or updating our evaluation rubric? So there's a lot that goes into day 2. And when we pull groups of school districts together, we help them kind of work together on these things, so it's not so labor intensive for some of the smaller districts as well. So you'll walk out at day 2 with a pretty good spreadsheet and a start on your story. And then when we go into day 3 and day 4, we're kind of pulling all that together into your AI literacy plan. And the AI literacy plan really works to kind of make sure that you have everything you need systemically for the school district that's instructional and non-instructional to make sure that everyone is AI literate, and then the professional development aligned to actually do that work. And that's it. That's kind of the 4 days that we've posed here. We've done this in over 60 school districts across North America, and we're excited about the opportunity here. So I'll stop there and see if there's, if Amy, do you want to jump in, or do you want to see if there's any questions at this point?
Sure. Why don't I go over some logistics and then we can open up for questions. So let me thank you, Adam. So, we're going to share real quick, hopefully. We're very excited. This initiative, let me get here. and you all will get a copy of these 2 slide decks as well. There's also the recording that will be there for you all, in case you want to go back to this. So do you all see my Chip? I can see you. Thumbs up. Do you see this slide? Okay. So we're very excited about this initiative. It is funded by the Department of Education, and we're collaborating with ALP to do this. And as you can see, I know that didn't come out as clear when I copied that picture, but it is an overview of the 4 sessions that Adam just spoke about. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to the form in chat in case you want to go ahead and fill out the form if you haven't already to participate. But this is the way it's going to work. So we have the applications, the participation form open until August 1st, after the August 1st, what we're going to do is we're look at everyone that's applied, and we're going to group into 16 hubs. But before, I'm jumping ahead a little bit too soon. So, but for your information, there's no cost to attend this, to be part of this as far as the content and the consulting, because the funding is coming from the Department of Ed. But we are charging an $80 per person fee for the whole thing, because we're going to provide food and coffee and water in the morning. We don't want you to come for a day of sessions 4 times and then not provide you some refreshments and some lunch. We also didn't want you to have to take time to go find something to eat. So there is an $80 per person fee. Adam, do you want to speak to real quick who should be the recommended division team members? I know you talked about it's really important for the superintendent, cabinet members to be at the first one, but who should be on their teams?
Sure, yeah. So, in day 1, you want your cabinet members, that includes HR. If you have communications, finance, like those folks, really need to be part of this. Every day after that, it really is, from a cabinet standpoint, folks will self-select if they want to continue. But what you need folks that can roll up their sleeves and actually build the stuff that we were talking about. Some folks will bring some principals along. Other folks are just, bringing other folks in the district there, and they bring them for day 1, but then they stick around for days 2, 3, and 4. So really you can localize who's there, but just know days 2, 3, and 4, there's some facilitation of new learning, and then there's a lot of, rolling up your sleeves and doing the work.
Okay, thank you. So the grant is going to allow us to serve up to 60 school divisions. And what we'll do based on who applies and the location of your school divisions and the sizes of your school division, we'll have up to 16 hubs. So we're going to call each group of divisions hubs. So 16 hubs up to 60 divisions. What will you take away from attending these 4 sessions? Is great professional learning from experts in AI. 4 sessions, 1 per month. Now, like Adam says, we can work with your hub to do those first 2 days back to back. But if you want to spread them out through 4 months, we can do that too. So we're going to work with you closely to make sure we meet the needs of your hub. You'll get assistance, and you should have a product of a division plan when you leave of how to implement AI and how you'd roll that out, and what professional learning, what frameworks and policies or regulations you may need. There'll also be a field kit available to you with different resources and a resource digital platform, so that you'll be able to go back to and look at even after you finish the 4 sessions. So the timeline is this, like I jumped to a few minutes ago. Apply by August 1st, and then August 2nd, we'll get to work grouping the school divisions. We'll be contacting you and setting those dates and where the locations will be. We're going to try to make it where no one has to drive very far, so no one has to go spend the night somewhere, hopefully. And then what we'll do is we'll start. And I have put a link in this slide to our website, but you can go to our website and find more detailed information on that. So, and once we get the hubs, we'll get you your dates, your locations. We'll be providing communication to you and your team or your contact person of what to expect for each session and what to bring to each session. So let's see, I see. Yeah. Okay. Is there an advantage to, okay. Chip had asked, is there an advantage to doing first 2 days back to back? And Adam said that the learning is fresh on your mind. So that is one of the advantages of that. So other than that, I'm going to open up. I'm going to stop sharing, hopefully, if I can find the button. And I'm going to open it up to questions you may have. Or Cindy, did I miss anything logistically wise?
No, I think you got it all. I was going to see if you wanted me to bring up the website page, but it's right there. If you go to the website, bassonline.org, to the left under the fall conference, spring conference, and winter conference links, there's the AI Year of Learning link where we will, that's going to kind of be our landing page. So anytime we get more questions or anytime we need to put any information, any new information up there, we'll be using that page there. So you can go there right there on bassonline.org.
Lori had the question, is the application is for the division. So one application per division, please. Let's see. And Nicole, can you remind me how many members can we have on our division team? Yes. Let's see. Got it right here. Okay, so if you have fewer than 10,000, you can have 6. Fewer than 20,000, between the 10 and 20,000, 12. And if you have over 20,000, you have 35 people.
I brought up the website, if that helps with answering some of those questions. So you've got the details here, the application here, and then once you go into the application, so that answers some of those questions. And once you go into the application as well, if you forget, it's in there in the application, the size of your division, how many you'll be able to bring.
And any other questions are welcome to come off. You can type them in the chat or you can come off mute and ask.
Well, Amy, I just want to thank you and Cindy and Adam for this amazing information. One thing I just want to say in big picture across the country, more and more states, state governors are talking about AI. We believe we're one of the first states in the country to get actual financial support from the state's Department of Education to really help districts develop the AI capacity that they need. And this is an opportunity, frankly, for many school districts to be able to get that field guide, get that implementation plan, and really be set up for success moving forward for AI. So we hope you take an opportunity to take advantage of this. Again, it's not a requirement, but we really think we're going to have many, many divisions interested in this opportunity. And if there are further questions that you have, you can reach out to Amy or Cindy or myself, and we can certainly get Adam and Amos involved as well. So Amos, I know you're on the line. Did you want to make a comment before we wrap up? It doesn't look like there are many more questions. Did you want to make a final comment as part of our wonderful partnership we have with you at ALP?
Well, thanks, Scott. Good morning, everyone. I would just thank everyone in advance for your openness and curiosity. I think the only thing that wasn't covered here is that this is a real opportunity to learn and take risks and explore something truly new and transformative, potentially. And so the whole goal of work that's going to allow for your district to build organizational and team capacity around this. Thanks so much for your consideration.
Amy, was there?
I had a quick question for you, Amy.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And we're looking at the size of the teams, and it sounds like the makeup of the team might change potentially after day one. So I suspect we keep that number and just kind of shuffle people out and the new people in. Is that basically how you're looking at it?
Yes, I believe so. Adam, you want to answer that? Is that the way you were thinking?
Yeah, Dan, the one thing I'll say is if we shuffle some people into day 2 that weren't in day 1, we'll just need to stay in close contact so we can get some learning for those folks before they get there for day 2. Because they'll have to roll up their sleeves and start doing work, and if they don't have the knowledge base they need.
Yeah.
But I've had to tackle that before, and there's ways to do that. It's pretty easy to do. So
Copy that. Thank you.
Yep.
So if I could, I have a follow-up question about the teams. Our division, we can have up to 12, but since day 1, you really emphasize having cabinet there as well. Are we allowed to bring a few additional folks for day 1 that then may not be there day 2?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that at all.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
I would suggest,
Go ahead,
Amy,
Cindy.
I would just suggest if that's what you're going to do, put that number in the application. So if 12 is your max, but you want to bring additional members just for the first one, put that number in your application. And I think it'll allow you to write like day one or something in there, or just we'll make sure to follow up. That way we've got the proper count in terms of table seating, lunch, and everything else.
Got it. Will do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, well, if not, we'll end this webinar, but we'll stay on. The vast staff here, and Adam and Amos, we could stay on just to answer any individual questions someone might have after other people leave. So,
Hey,
but,
Amy, AJ
go
had a
ahead.
question.
AJ?
Yeah,
Oh.
it said I filled out the application yesterday without the knowledge of the suggested cabinet. Can we edit our application numbers?
Yes. Why don't you just go ahead and submit a new one, and I'll delete the first one you had.
Thanks everyone for being a part of this information webinar today. And as Amy said, her and the ALP staff will stay on. We're glad to have you today, and we look forward to the partnership this year.